Well, congratulations. You've made it to the end of the world and survived. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome to New Alliances, our first look at a new DLC for surviving the aftermath. Today's episode is sponsored by the developers, and you can find more information down below in the description, where today we're going to take our first look at new features added, including Federation, which allows us to ally with other neighboring factions. We also have a rival faction that will do battle with us out in the field. There's also covert missions added for specialists, and of course, dangerous bandits that will also patrol the world map, as well as animals, and many other quality of life improvements to the game, including some reworking to how people will go and eat before they're starving, that is, and other things that'll make them a little bit more intelligent. Here we have Fort New Raptoria in the middle of the map here, where our survivors are out somewhere in the woods and hiding for the signal to come to camp. We'll launch a flare and let them know that the coast is clear once our settler kind of builds an initial camp and lets them know that we found a perfect spot to build our camp, our city, our fortress, Fort New Raptoria. Cool. Well, we'll have our specialist pop up here very soon, and if you're a big fan of survival city builders, then this is definitely one for you, where other territories will be filled with bandits and other factions that we can eventually go find. We'll team up with them and ally and trade and do other things with them like never before. There's certainly been factions like that before in this game, but now we can actually do much more with them, which makes it great.
The world is in ruins. Things once considered mundane are hard to find, and habitable land is no exception. A settler has finally found a spot for a new colony. With a place to call home, it is time for a new beginning. Welcome to the aftermath, survivor.
All right, so our goal now is to build the campsite and let everyone know the coast is clear. This is essentially our settler. Well, it's like he's arriving at an already pre-made camp, but that's what our camp will look like after we get it constructed. So luckily, the great thing about this game is it always kind of shows that there's a fortified position, or at least an area in which we can build a wall to defend against attackers. Here we see a large tunnel off in the distance with a lot of water and such over here, where areas have really been hit hard, so it's going to be almost impossible and possibly dangerous for people to traverse that. It could be filled with radiation or whatnot, and also the same is true with the land in front of us. A beautiful landscape, though dangerous, filled with ruins and also lakes and rivers and a little bit of desert here and there, as Earth's environment has changed after the post-apocalyptic events, to which they don't necessarily say what it is, but it's really like a few things at the same time. Asteroids hitting Earth, nuclear war, climate change, flooding, war is all I could imagine. All right, well, let's go ahead and get on the lookout for a new home then. We'll tell our survivor here, or a settler, to move around, except we don't actually get direct control of them. What we do is build ourselves a campsite for them to go and initially set up a settlement area for our first survivors to arrive. And so what I always like to do is build it somewhere near the gates, and you can't really build it too far until you explore some of the area. And this is a little too advanced for this person. They're just here sent as a forward observer to basically go and set up the initial camp for the survivors to arrive to. We can do a few other things like build tents and whatnot after the first thing is completed here, the campsite. But we're going to signal everyone that it's all clear, so we can have many hands making light work of the many tasks that must be done in order to survive the aftermath. Check that out. Now we get a nice view of the area. There's some pollution around. There's some wooden ruins. We got lots of plastic in front of us, a lot of things that we can utilize in order to survive. And there's like toxic waste and all sorts of things around. Really greatly detailed. If you love post-apocalyptic games, if you love city management games, if you love resources being the primary focus, this is definitely one for you.
There are survivors waiting for a signal from the settler. They are cold and hungry, yet willing to work, should the colony take care of them in return. They can be invited in right away or later, in case the settlement needs more time to prepare.
So we can basically do whatever we want at this point to prepare homes for them in advance. The settler is very good at doing those things, but we're going to go ahead and shoot this flare and let them know it's okay. And there it goes, up into the sky. Be kind of cool if it showed up over the camp. But anyway, around us are some other areas we're going to explore as soon as our specialists get here, including a museum that'll give us some research a farm that has tools and a camping site that has clothing. So a few things that can jumpstart our survival. All right, well, settlers should be coming to the camp at any moment. So let's go ahead and get our tents built right away then for them. Ah, the inhabitants.
Your first colonists have arrived. Prompted by the signal flare, the rest of the group arrives at the prepared campsite. Despite all the hardship ahead, it's time to rebuild and turn this hostile place into a home.
Absolutely. And here they are. Excellent. And the first settlers are here. So one of the first changes that I've seen right off the bat is over in the right corner there. It seems that there's a little thing here that keeps track of colony prestige, and this also gives us access to milestones, which then can be things to strive for to eventually build our settlement even larger, and which will allow us to do different things. So basically the first step is to build our city, then moving on to Into the Wild, where they want us to start exploring, then use those materials we find exploring to expand the base, and then start making more trade and stronger bonds with those around us, and eventually doing Operation New Dawn / Project Tomorrow, doing all sorts of different things that are kind of a part of a story that you can play out each and every time that gives you different bonuses. This game also has some other scenarios which I praise, because in, for example, other games like that I love, Anno 1800, for example, when developers start doing scenarios in their games, it's quite nice to actually be able to see them experimenting with something outside of their traditional city builder or the standard format that they've created, like, for example, just the typical survive, gather resources, and build the biggest city possible. That's always, of course, something we do every single time in these types of games, but the scenarios make it more unique in terms of trying to survive the aftermath in many different scenarios, like, for example, an endless winter and trying to escape and go to lands away from these lands. Now there's also a day-night cycle, as you can see, and there's a seasonal cycle too, and it looks like our settlers are here as well. Fritz and Boone are ready to go. They can help us out by gathering materials for us inside the city area. They can also gather berries and whatnot, and these things can be gathered at the campsite until we've created a little bit more of a permanent settlement. And we can also start doing research where there's some pretty beefy research trees here for things like food, resources, infrastructure, community, safety, and the new alliances. Yeah, check this out. We have things like taverns and kitchens and schools and greenhouses. Our primary focus, by the way, when we created this camp was to focus primarily on making people's lives better and trying to rescue everyone and trying to get everybody to safety and giving them the best lives possible. So we're going to try to focus on those types of things. So haven't seen that research tree before. We'll have to get to that a little bit later after, of course, the first and foremost goal is to immediately start building housing and giving everybody a nice little home, some basic shelter, so they'll get on building anything and everything that they can as soon as possible. We can also go ahead and start gathering wood and whatnot when we get some other buildings down, so we'll start by building those homes, which are on, and we'll also build our stockpile and food storage, which will allow us to gather basic materials and also food. Those are some pretty important basics. So let's build those by the camp over here. We'll go ahead and build some things right here by the water. There we go. So that'll be our basic stockpile, and then our food storage, which will allow us to go gather berries and other things like that. Those go down and are pretty much instantaneously completed. And in this game, if you hold control, you can use your mouse wheel to increase or decrease the size of a work area, so that way you can either gather more or less of a resource if you want. And we'll do the same with food here. So we got everybody gathering berries. We got everybody gathering wood and concrete and other things, or at least they will shortly from some of these sites. And the specialists are helping too. So they're doing a good job now. You can see everybody breaking up pallets and chopping things up and bringing them back to the site to be usable here at the work areas. Or rather, at the stockpile. We can also make a request for resources. And we can also set what resources can be allowed there, so you can have multiple stockpiles in different areas if you want to better keep track of your resources. Okay, well, now that they're getting started with that, we're going to also start doing a trapper, which will gather us some extra food. And food will be very important for our camp. Since nothing can really grow here, we're going to use this area actually for industrial buildings and some other things that would take up otherwise valuable farmland. So when we can, we're going to clear out all these ruins here and cut down all these trees and make that some really nice farmland here. So building in this sandy area is quite good, actually. And this is a great area to build a defensive structure, a gate, so that way we can keep intruders out and keep our people safe within. We're also negative 12 on water, so we better get started on that too. We can build safely over here. And it looks like the efficiency is 60, 70. Let's go ahead and make it a little higher. 100% if we build all the way over here. We'll build a well out there where somebody can go gather that. Now, it's right next to the pollution, I know, but it'll be okay for the time being. We can eventually clear that pollution out, though, with an environmental station, so that'll give us an interesting problem to solve in the future. We also need water storage for certain buildings, too, and certain buildings, like, for example, the cook station, requires water in order to boil to then make food, but other people want clean drinking water that they can drink right away. We can also build ourselves a fishing hut down here, too. That's nice. We got some immediate food sources and some immediate water sources, but we can use those a little bit later. In fact, let's have a change of plans. Let's go over to the resource gatherers. We're going to go ahead and start with the lumber yard, which will then start producing lumber into planks, which we can also use later on after they've gathered a ton of those. It's a good way to start. We'll go ahead and start by putting that building there, and we'll build some more roadways around. Now, there are tools in this game, as you saw on the overworld map, so we'll have to continue to gather those or make those in order to continue doing all these jobs of construction and road building and other things like that. Water collector is a much better building than the well as well, but the nice thing about the well is that it can actually be placed in pretty much small territory, as where the water collector has to be put on shore and compete against the fishing docks, so it might be sometimes a little bit of a competition you might not want to have. A logging camp will be necessary for firewood, so that way we can turn logs into firewood for either heating of the homes or for cooking. We'll go ahead and kind of attach that to this building here. We'll make a nice road down this way. Plenty of decorations to put in the game as well to more than likely raise your people's happiness, but possibly also prestige, which of course completing milestones and whatnot will continue to give us different types of things like that. Very important. We got people here building the well. Excellent. Fishing pier can come up soon. We also should probably build a medical tent. That's usually needed rather early in this game, giving people cures for all sorts of basic injuries from working on the job to actually being irradiated. And also for other settlers who may come in to join us, they may have other diseases that they need help with, and they can also work in those tents too after they've been cured. So the size of the camp can increase exponentially. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some other things here. The the burning pit we'll need in the winter, and the burial pit we can use at pretty much any time. We will need to build these things, but as we kind of wait for our population to increase, we're going to focus more on homes. Now, one of the major milestones right now is to increase our population to 25, so we more than need to double the size of the camp, so we'll get to that ASAP. We'll build some more roads around. There we go. And some bumpin' music in the game as well, with many other radio stations to choose from. Right now we're listening to Outback, which is like really exciting. Our people are really happy to have a home and getting to work, and all these other radio stations kind of feel the need. They hit the match on the head, the nail, something, I don't know, on the coffin. No, they fit the bill when it comes to picking the right music for the situation, or at least, you know, if you're in a dire situation, you can change the tunes, and it just matches the feeling of the game quite a lot. All right, looks like we got our first well down. We're still -1 on water. Let's go ahead and build another one. Not too hard to construct those. Oh, we actually get a free water collector as well. Well. Well, now we'll have extra, so we'll go ahead and build a free water collector too, and we'll produce more water than what we need, which we can eventually store. Water does have a storage capacity for buildings and for regular drinking storage. Our initial camp has a storage of 300, so if a drought happens to happen, then we'll be ready to go on that one. That should be a good time. All right. Look at all that information, too. This game has a lot of data on all sorts of different projects and things such as carriers, which are transporting things to and from work sites or construction sites, energy and its storage too, how much wood you're producing and consuming, and also parts, which, for example, then can create junk, which can go into other things that can be broken down later. Actually, metal, I believe, can get junk that can be refined into parts, I believe. Medical tent is now complete. Excellent. And we're building some more homes, too. Let's send our boys out to the world map, shall we? Oh, we can't until we build that gate. That's going to be our main goal here for now, is to build that main gate. So let's go ahead and prepare that for security. Should be one of the things we might need to actually research. Let's check and see. I forget exactly the flow for it. I believe it could be under infrastructure. No, it's under security. Safety. Nurses, frontier outposts. Show key. Oh, I see. Wow. All of these show you upgrades, durability, efficiency, people. Oh, that's great. All sorts of different upgrades. Absolutely. This tech tree has changed a few times, by the way, over the game's development over the last few years. I've been playing pretty much since day one, with it being, I think it was a beta on the Epic Game Store, and it's really come a long way now, available on Steam and whatnot. Again, remember, check that link with the, with the link in the description. You can learn a little bit more about it and check specs and other things like that as well. But it's been great to see the game develop over time, really, truly. Ah, the gate can now just be built without research here in the second tab, which seems to be exploration. Nice. All right, looks like there's a group of people who want to chat with us.
Suddenly, muffled cries for help start echoing from one of the shelters. Inside, a large hole has opened up in the ground, swallowing the poor colonist.
Oh, no. Build a makeshift ladder. All right. Well, we saved them, and now we get a little extra happiness from that. Good. Many decisions like this that can affect people's happiness, bring in extra supplies, or sometimes can fail and have negative effects on the camp, too. All right, looks like we're going to need 175 plastic and 190 wood in order to build this gate, so it's going to be quite some time until we've got security up, but that must be our utmost priority. Let's go back then to gathering things through the recycler, which will gather plastic from the junk here. And look at that, 2 piles right next to each other. So a pretty good spot to maybe build it up here at the top of this roadway. We'll go ahead and connect to that there. There we go. Now, underneath these sites, there are deposits which we can use to gather more materials after they've been depleted. But essentially, we've almost got about 800 between the two plastic there, which is an astronomical amount. And even more over here. Wow, there's tons of plastic. This must have been an old plastic landfill. Jeez. All right, then. Well, we'll be hurting for metal, though. I don't see any sources for that anywhere around, but it looks like there's still... oh, there's some. And it looks like also concrete and plastic up there, too. So we've got most of the resources in which we need for most of the game, but also all the resources we need for the gate. All right, so it looks like our workers now are working at the lumber yard. We've increased the workers there to 2. We're also creating a little bit of firewood, I think, that should be tallied up here as well. Yep. We'll turn that off for now, though, so we can get these people working on some other things. But we have the building built for when we get a little bit closer to winter. Day 1 has passed, and our people have already set up a blueprint for the gate and several buildings that they need in order to just sustain basic functions at the camp. So that's pretty decent overall. Absolutely. Looks like another tent is going up. Eventually we can build many more houses and things that we don't yet see on this screen here. So eventually we will create many more opportunities for our people to build much more by researching insufficient construction materials for the recycler. So we're basically missing wood, I'm assuming. Yes, 45 is required there. So let's continue to tell everybody to gather. We can tell the boys here to continue to gather wood.
Yep.
Speed things up a little bit. Actually, let's go ahead and gather from this wooden ruins of the house. Looks like there was a little cabin there, so we can keep breaking that down. Bringing in more resources for our people. Let's speed up time now. We've got everything going that we need to so far. This is a very good spot, too. And if you'd like to see the seed for my map, too, you can see down here in the lower right corner, 51401-067- quadruple 02. And so that way you can share your maps with everybody. And you can do that while you're setting up your game. At the screen before you start, you'll see where it says edit seed or whatnot on the left side option at the bottom. And that way you can play along. That's pretty cool, actually. So please do send me the cities that you build and whatnot. It'd be great to see everybody building all sorts of different cities. If you haven't gotten the game already, many people who watch the channel have already played Surviving the Aftermath many a time, and so now it's great to see a new DLC that will be early game, mid game, and late game. Early game, of course, for all the covert missions that we can go on and get started on for storylines, and then late game for all the trading that we can do for advanced research. Well, actually, mid game too. Advanced resources and research that we can trade and expand upon over time. So that's pretty good. Well, good news to see resources being depleted, the deposits being depleted, as of course now all that wood is going into storage and or going immediately straight over to the gate and over to our recycler, which is almost done. We just need somebody to build it now. Good. Very good indeed. Oh wow, look at that. Yep. We got everybody who's free working on gathering all the wood that's around. And we've got our specialist working on removing the wooden ruins here too. And that's another great thing about this game, is that sometimes objects will block your way and they might be beneficial to gather before you build the building. So if you're trying to build yourself a farm and you need to get a house out of the way, once you take that farm down or house down, you can then use that area for a farm afterwards and have all the resources to build maybe perhaps a cooking hut, or I believe it's called a kitchen or whatnot, in order to then further your production and make food more efficient. In fact, that's one of the things we'll need to worry about shortly. We have 40 canned food, some jerky, and some berries right now. We need to give our people a more diverse diet, so we must give them vegetables and meat, which we can eventually get from bugs if we want to. But we will definitely get some fish and some other things going here shortly. So we will have fish, we will have berries, and then we can also trap, which will give us regular meat. And I think fish does get translated into meat at the end of the day, but it will definitely be good to have more sources for more mouths to feed, which will eventually come to the gate soon. Soon. Looks like a house is needing to be built as well, but we're out of plastic. And now we got a lot of people working on gathering plastic. Someone's been stealing planks. Excuse me?
Someone seems to have been stealing wood from the storage. A few colonists go to investigate, and after a bit of detective work, return with a group of rowdy children, one under each arm.
Apparently the kids were using the planks to build themselves a tree fort. Oh, leave the fort alone. Plus 20 happiness. Good. Let the kids have their fort. We don't need those materials just yet. In fact, we've got plenty now that we got our specialists working hard. Kids are just having some fun. That's all good. All right, another good morning, and our camp is almost ready to build this gate. I can see some resources in storage, so it's more than likely they're going to build themselves a tent first. But let's make the gate now our top priority. And we'll continue to clear out the wood and other things too. Oh, a colonist is irradiated. Luckily, we have our medical tent here ready to go, to which we can get 2 people occupied inside that tent. And there they go. So whomever was irradiated will be cured soon. Looks like they're treating. We can actually upgrade and make the tent heal faster too. And some of the things that we might need from the other camps for the New Alliances DLC includes medicines and whatnot. So as we go to this world map here, which we'll be exploring more, as soon as we find them, there could be other settlements that specialize in medicine or in fuel or in farming. And so the resources that they give or that they want to trade could really benefit us. Let's jump back into our city and let's get this gate finished. As soon as the gate is finished, we will then kind of have an official settlement to where then traders can show up to the gate and start dealing with us. For example, Dan Van Man, I believe is one of them, who can also trade us all sorts of different things like medicine and tools and clothing, all sorts of good stuff. And it looks like somebody's healthy again. Fantastic. Wow, a lot of plastic is needed to make that gate, but we got everybody working.
What's up?
Looks like we can't gather plastic from here. It can only be piles of wood so far, so let's clean these out. We can make a roadway up here. And let's make a dirt road to the plastic site.
One of the colonists approaches, looking more than a little nervous. She says that she might be able to provide some clothing for the colony.
Well, if we provide her with some fabric, she might be able to give us some clothes. I think it's a good idea. It's worth the risk. Unfortunately, not a success, but she tried, and that matters most. Upon success, we would have gotten free clothes, but worst case scenario, we lost some fibers, which are given from, I believe, looking for plastics. It's kind of a side resource that you can take a look at as well in this game. And check this out. There's an immense amount of detail in this game beyond what I showed you on the top of the screen. There's an incredible amount of information on the specialist, your combat so far, win and losses, your population and how they're doing. And just check out all this information. Each and every person in the camp, you can kind of see how they're doing, how they're feeling, how they're performing. You can see all your resources and how much of each type that you have and how long it'll last you. I mean, this is insane. I don't think I've seen another game that has things as organized and detailed at the same time as this one. Very nice, too, by the way, to see. Typically, these screens are a bore fest, and you really don't even want to open them up because it's just a line graph. But that one can help you immensely in understanding what's going on at just a glance without having to spend too much time in a an Excel spreadsheet. That's a good thing for it. All right. Well, now we've got ourselves a lot of people sleeping. Oh, you can hear them snoring. Wow, and look at that, over 500 wood now. Fantastic. Building this logging camp was a great idea. And now we can put everybody to work on other projects at some point. The people inside can take a few days off from cutting wood and go gather food or something like that if they need to. And yeah, she's right. Those piles of pollution are incredibly dangerous. 96 out of 175. We're almost there. With all this plastic, we may as well build another plastic recycler, honestly. I've never seen so much in this game before at the front line like that. Now, if we want to explore past where we are near this gate, we can build those scout towers you may have seen earlier. These scout towers will allow us to explore a little bit more around the map that we've already settled here within the city. So we can expand further and find other things out there waiting for us. Now, there's other dangerous creatures out there. There could be bears and wolves, especially that are irradiated. And there could also be, maybe there's bandits or something out there. Our specialists should be able to protect our people and shoot at them if they need to and protect our camp.
Your command.
All right, building another recycler. There we go. Ooh, somebody needs a little hygiene there. A few of our people do. Let's go ahead and build ourselves some outhouses. And we can build that somewhere nearby. Now we'll build it right over here. Perfect. Outhouse will be necessary and also has to be decontaminated from time to time. I think it's actually a outhouse and shower combo, maybe. I think they can actually get all the hygiene that they need from there. So that's good. Insufficient construction materials for the outhouse, which is probably plastic. Yeah, it's all being diverted to the gate right now. And our second building is up. Fantastic. All right, let's get rid of this plastic as soon as possible. That means we can get all these buildings out of here and start farming and doing more of the permanent work. That'll be here a lot longer. Looks like we have no more free carriers. So let's go ahead and get rid of people cutting down wood. We're almost at getting closer to 600. We'll put them more on gathering of plastic, and that'll go straight to the gate. I want to double time it on that gate and get the construction done as soon as possible before day 5, or at least before the end of day 5. And then we can also build that outhouse as well. All right, very good. Oh, look at that. the fog. I think I actually see water droplets hitting the lake, or maybe that's just the... Wow, that's very detailed. Wait a minute. I don't know if that's seaweed or light shimmering off the surface. At this angle, it almost seems like there's like drizzle hitting the lake. I could believe it raining. Ooh, look at this. The gate is ready to go. The gate has now been made a top priority. Construction teams are finishing construction. All the materials have been delivered. People are a little sad today, but they're going to be very happy in just a moment or two. Also, they're not very happy about their homes. They're not really happy about the hygiene situation, but we've got to get the gate up first. That's got to be priority numero uno, which is German for 2, I think. Well, wait, hold on. No. Okay, I may have goofed that up, but that's okay. The wall is good. That'll keep out, yeah, any more mistakes, I suppose. We got ourselves some guns, weapons that we can make. We can also make fuel in this game. We can get crude oil and refine it into fuel, which vehicles can be captured from the main world map too, and be used to transport our settlers, our specialists around to different areas. So if there's a group that needs our help, if there's a mission somewhere far across the map to which you can see all the mountains and such around, if there's a far off distance to go, our people can get there very quickly and go in a group. In other words, if there's a van and you have 3 specialists or 4 specialists or 5 or 6, depending on how many people can be held in that vehicle, they can do it.
Congratulations! You've rebuilt the gate and gained access to the world map. The gate is now open, and the vast world stands ready for your specialists to explore. This progress has not gone unnoticed, though. Soon, your colony will begin attracting various folks. Some good, others desperate, some tricksters, and those who just want to see you destroyed.
Wow. Well, that's a fair way to put it, and that's why the gate is so important now for the new Alliance's DLC, because, well, people can follow us back to our camp and do some damage. There's always been raiders in this game, but now the threat of that is even more, especially since we can have great relationships.
We've reached a milestone.
And bad relationships with many. Alright, well, I'm assuming more things have unlocked.
There are survivors at the gate.
Oh, we got survivors. Wonderful.
A ragged bunch shuffles slowly towards the gate.
Well, would you look at this? If we accept this group, we'll receive a new fighter as well named Gorky. We'll also accept 6 children, or 6 adults rather, some children too. And they also brought some supplies with them, including some plastic, which is great. That'll make up for a lot for our building of the gate. Well, they can get to work on building a house for themselves. We'll give them a plot of land to start building, and we'll try to build more structures. Let's build an emergency shelter now. Certainly not as great as the tents, but will help us to quickly accommodate more newcomers. And we'll build some nice little decorations, too, to try to make things a little fancier. Lift everyone's spirits a little bit, like a tavern. That's a good spot to lift some spirits, isn't it? There we go. It just makes them a little happier, but it's a good start. Alright, now we do have access to the world map, as he mentioned, so let's get everyone to the world map immediately and start exploring, because that's the best way to experience the new Alliance's DLC. Alright.
Yes.
Let's go find some science, if we can.
Going.
We're going to gather that science and send it back to camp. We're going to go look for some tools.
Sounds good. Yes.
I'm going to go look for some clothing.
You got it.
Now, once we have done that, we can bring all those resources back to the camp, and if our people become wounded or whatnot, they can also return to camp. Our specialists can return to camp to heal up. And then we can start expanding to explore all these different regions. Some regions, just like the region next to our camp, that's kind of like a lake with water and craters and critters and other stuff, and that's pretty much impassable. So really, the enemy, if they go to attack us, can only come from the south, the east, the north, and the west here. Just a smaller pass here in the south. We've kind of got some, well, maybe like just a few directions to attack, or to expect an attack from, which is possible. But also many areas to explore, some more dangerous than others, with bandit camps that now, if we defeat a bandit camp will give more materials once we have done that, so that's a good thing. Who is this? Oh, we have one of our guards here for the gate. Yeah, we have a gate guard here. Let's go ahead and hire another person for security. And there we go. Alright, great. Now we have some more... I hear all this screaming. Are you okay? Okay. Anyway, let's get another outhouse down. I usually never try to put more than 2 next to each other. They can cross-contaminate each other, so it's a good idea to get multiple ones down ASAP, but to put them down in different areas. And it looks like that's our biggest ask right now in the camp, is to have some more hygiene buildings. So let's do that. We'll put a few more over here. Very picturesque, very romantic down here by the lake. Plenty of plastic, plenty of wood coming in. Would you look at that? And our settlers should be ready in a few days. You can kind of see it, but there's this very thin green circle on the outside of the world map button, and when that fills up fully, that means our specialists are finished with their current move or project or turn, and so then they can do more, such as bring those materials back or whatnot. Looks like we can store some drinking water. Might be a good idea now to store some drinking water for if there is a drought, which is possible to come along. Let's go ahead and build that next to the little water gathering area there, the water collector. Ooh, a dangerous, fierce mouse. We better watch out. That could attack the camp, and I'm not joking. It's possible. Kind of silly, but could you imagine your camp to be wiped out by a rat? A stinking rat? Alright, what else do we have now for availability? Well, as soon as we get those research points from the museum, we can unlock a lot more things, but we've definitely started with the basic research as needed. Or at least the basic things have been unlocked for our camp. That's great. Let's go ahead and build a little fishing dock here. Those trees get instant deleted. Goodbye. We have 6 people available for work. So a few of them can go to that fishing dock that we're just constructing now. And we can put a trapper down, which of course needs to be near a forest. So we'll probably put them in the opposite forest of where we're gathering logs from right now. Now remember, for the trapper, we can adjust their work area, so even though we're building them down here by the lake, we can move their work area to just up here so they can walk into the forest, set and check traps, and then come on back. Looks like we're getting a new specialist in 4 days. There may be somebody who wants to be recruited from us very shortly, so that's good. Oh boy, wait. Oh, I thought this was already depleted. Okay, well, we've got 70 plastic. Yes, it'll be good to have some more specialists here. And that'll allow us to check multiple areas at the same time. Let's check the world map now. Looks like they're still gathering more.
Reporting in.
He now has in his inventory a little bit of supply. So we can bring some more back a little bit later. Now, there's other factions out there waiting for us. We got to go find them first and then set up trade policies and whatnot. And that's exactly what the New Alliance's DLC allows us to do, to build more advanced things such as trenches and trade posts, really to decide between, do you want to go for, trading, or do you want to go to war? You want to do propaganda or anti-propaganda. There's also, it looks to be like nuclear power in many other buildings in the game too. The Steam store page really alludes to a lot of new things that we haven't been able to build before, and that I haven't really seen in a long time. We have energy storage here, wind power, powered heaters for the wintertime, large solar panels, large rotors, axial flow. There's possibly nuclear power, and or more options for waste disposal. As you can see already up, the camp there is already getting a little contaminated with those buildings. But we got everybody doing a good job bringing materials to where they got to go. Very nice. Alright, a lumberyard, recycler, logging camp. And of course, the forester will regrow trees and is good to use for trapping as well. We'll go ahead and put them near the trapper, actually. Looks like somebody's starting to mutate. Uh-oh. Luckily, we got a doctor in the house. Fishing dock is going up soon. And then after that, the trapper, and then after that, the forestry building, which should help us to regrow trees here. Or again, we can also ask for them to work down here. Actually, this would be a great spot over here. There's still wood inside the forest. And cutting this down would allow us to build over here, although it's closer to the nuclear waste, so we could kind of avoid the area altogether, build farming close to the town, and then trapping and hunting and such outside of town. Trapper will work as that. We can also acquire weapons and such from the world map too, and trade for them as well. Well, things are going good on the world map. They're still gathering resources. We'll bring them back shortly. Eventually, we can also set up trade posts out in the the world at large, and that will kind of allow us to instantly bring things back, and it's a good thing. Both of these security agents can also be used to attack the rats, so let's do it. We'll leave the gate unattended for a little bit. Famous last words, did I lock the gate? And let's deal with the rat. Looks like they got crossbows. And mission success. Nice. Good job cleaning those up. And go back to the gate. And they'll heal up over time. They'll be alright. Alright, another person fishing would be great. Looks like the specialists are ready for action now. And the trapper's ready too. Alright, back to the world map.
All cleaned up.
Scavenging completed. Very good. So now the main goal is to try to get the population up to 25, and there will be random goals and other things that will pop up eventually. Other things we'll be told about that we can go and explore, and locations we can go to continue some other story objectives, as well as some other covert missions that will come up. Our specialists can now can go on covert missions within societies, for example, to steal resources or to incite people to leave other camps and come back to our own, but then that faction may become hostile to us, and they can also do the same to us. So over time, we can then unlock and build and create new protective buildings, such as surveillance vans and anti-propaganda towers, and that'll shield us against the enemy's attacks. So there's things where, hey, we can manipulate other people, but also they can do the same to us. So a little bit of a mind game on top of that. And I can't help but think of Command and Conquer generals, the grand strategy, the Mac Daddy of them all, the surveillance vans for the GLA. Very good. All right, looks like our specialist's back, and he's ready to go back out again. So let's send him to the world map. And he can go and do some more jobs for us. Let's go scout out and see where the neighbors are, if we can find them.
Consider it done.
Or possibly find some bandits. It'll take a little while before this map is revealed, but little by little, every inch of land will be explored. And every second will count on how long it takes us to explore. And that's why the vehicles are also, again, very useful. Of course, the faster we can explore, the faster we can get them back with the materials that will really make a difference at the camp. Or food. Alright, let's continue to clear up these areas. Not bad. We're down to only 400 wood, and yet the industries are pretty much shut down for the most part, and some good firewood and storage as well. Alright, our forester, let's go ahead and have him plant over here maybe. There you go. And now we can cut down trees over here if we want to and continue to replant for trapping. That'll make it a lot better for all the animals that can live out there. How's the emergency shelter? 2 out of 6. Excellent. We have a little bit more room for more settlers. We'll go ahead and build another tent here. Well, let's see. There we go. And we could, of course, put more decorations in. There we go. More snoozing. When you snooze, you lose, my friend. Very good. Alright, our friend there is exploring that area. Let's speed up time now. Pretty much everything we need to do is complete.
There's a new quest available.
But now there's a new quest.
Frontier nomads are a loosely organized group of bandits who, despite insisting they're pragmatic and fair, habitually raid settlements with little remorse.
Interesting. Well, we could attack them or abandon the quest. We could definitely attack them, and that would make our supply lines more secure. Let's do that. And so begins some of our quest lines to take out
Frontier
nomads.
nomads are a loosely organized...
Alright, as they mentioned, it's somewhere on the world map. Ah, just right up here, actually. A few locations to attack their, I guess they have a patrol all around this area here.
Mission complete.
Oh, another mission complete. We can bring back those tools, which might be really needed soon.
Going.
And we'll have our specialist return to
Your
the map.
command?
Now that he brought back the supplies. Ooh, a pandemic is on the way. Alright, we're going to have to prepare for that. I'll slow down time a little bit. We'll build another medical tent. We can prepare for that. That's fine. We will be able to withstand that. Alright, back to the world map with our other trader.
Yes.
Or I guess,
My pleasure.
in this case, our scout. Yes, Boone is more of a scout. They all have their own different classifications, so fighters, scouts, and scavengers and scientists can all go out, and they all have different things that they can do. And for some of these scenarios with the question marks, there can be alternative options instead of
All
just
cleaned
fighting
up.
all the time. And now the area here is revealed. Looks like we'll have some antibiotics. That'll be perfect for the upcoming medical challenges. Crumbling homes, museums.
All right.
Let's go grab some of those supplies. This area is contaminated, so it will provide a little bit of damage, but they can come back and heal. Very, very good. Wow. Humble beginnings, but large possibilities when it comes to all the things you can do in the New Alliance's DLC for Surviving the Aftermath. Thank you very much, guys, for joining here today for our first look at this DLC. If you'd like to see more, I'm likely to live stream this one as well, not only just this new DLC, but the game and all of its scenarios in general. So please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and check out the link down below in the description for today's live stream. Again, remember, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate y'all. Yes, the link down there is for not only the DLC, but also for future content on Surviving the Aftermath. And thanks again to the devs for sponsoring today's video. Hope to see you all again around sometime soon. Thanks for all the support. Hope you enjoyed, and please do show me your cities that you build in Surviving the Aftermath. I'll see you all next time. Take care, and thanks for watching.